Long form beauty content. It's time to bring it back.
But I really wish we could go back to the days of influencing, of like early 2010s YouTube.
I asked this question and I said, like, who are the makeup girlies that you're watching on YouTube? I barely got any responses on it.
Bring back real makeup influencers.
We gotta get back to when the girls was sitting and giving us 20, 30, 40-minute videos and breaking it down.
You just knew the girlies to go to. Like, there were list upon list upon list.
The girls are losing techniques and recipes.
I miss that feeling.
I feel like it's the end of the makeup era.
So I heard y'all wanted to learn how to do your makeup. And I just do your makeup, but do it well. I've been seeing on social media, there's a lot of talk about who are the new beauty YouTubers. We need to bring long form beauty content back. That is why I'm here. Now, if you're new here, you're probably like, who are you and why should I trust you? Why should I take makeup advice from you? Because I look like this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. I am also experienced as a freelance makeup artist. So with all the knowledge I've learned, I've decided to share it with you guys. Go ahead and grab your iPad, the notes app in your phone, because today's first session is going to be all about mastering your base. Okay, so obviously we want to start off with the fresh face, nothing on your face. For brows, I use the NYX Crazy Lift Brow Glue. If you don't feel like buying a new brow glue, I used to use whatever edge control I use for my brows. Obviously, when you're using any type of brow gel, you don't want to overdo it because it will flake. Especially this one. I learned my lesson with this one. So I'm going to just brush my brows up with the brow glue. And then I'm going to let them set for a little bit. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. A dupe for this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is the shade Latte. I like to carve out my brows first because, especially when I used to fill them in, I felt like it gave me a guide to stay in the lines. And now I'm going to take just a regular brow spoolie and I'm gonna shape my brows a little bit more. So now we're gonna move on to primer. You still want your makeup to stick to your face. You don't want to deal with a lot of transferring. So that's why I go in with my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, just to give y'all a little bit of education on which primers to choose. That is all gonna depend on your skin type and your skin concerns. If you have drier skin, you're going to want to use a more hydrating primer. And if you have oily skin, you might want to use more mattifying primer. If you have texture to your skin, then you're going to want to get some type of like blurring primer. So now that my primer's set, we're going to go back to foundation. You don't have to have a full coverage foundation to have makeup that looks full coverage. You just have to put the product on, like put that shit on, and you have to blend it well. For skin tint, I love the Fenty Beauty Easy Drop Blur and Smooth Tint Sticks. For my full coverage foundation, I use the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I use the shade Caracas, and this one is more my summer shade. And I'm gonna use this one on purpose so I can show y'all how to adjust if you have a foundation that's a bit too dark. And I'm gonna just put this on the back of my hand. I usually use like 2.5 to 3 pumps. I'm just gonna go in with, this is a Ruby Kisses foundation brush. What I find people doing a lot is they'll mess up one step in their makeup routine and they feel like, oh, I have to take it all off and start all over again. No, you don't. You just have to learn how to adjust. Don't fall for that we're not putting foundation on our forehead trend. Please just put a little bit. If y'all notice, all I did was put some right here to avoid like that stark contrast from your foundation to your neck, especially if your foundation is a little bit off in shade. Just blend it down a little bit underneath your chin like that. Now here's where melting sprays and fixing sprays come in. If I had the melting spray that I used to use, then I would be demonstrating, but I'm just gonna tell y'all, melting sprays are supposed to be used in between steps to melt everything together to better blend the makeup together. Fixing sprays are used at the very end to stick the makeup to your face. My fixing spray is the L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist. This is a dupe for the one size. This one is more matte than the one size one, so if you want to go more matte, get this one. If I had a melting spray, I would spray it on my face now. If you're watching this and you're doing your makeup, if you put your foundation on, use your melting spray. To go into the next step, I'm gonna go back in with that same Too Faced concealer. Your application depends on how bright you want it. I don't apply as much concealer as you probably see the other girls on like TikTok and stuff apply it. And I don't contour my nose. So if you came here for a nose contour tutorial, you gotta go watch the other girls and then come back to me when you're done, because I don't contour my nose. When you apply a concealer, you don't want to immediately go in and blend it out, because what's gonna happen is it's gonna be too wet, and then it's just gonna be a nasty mess. Okay, while this is setting, I'm gonna go in and place my contour, and I just place a little dot. This is the hydrating camo concealer from e.l.f. in the shade Rich Cocoa, and the only reason why I only place a little dot is because a dot is enough, and I'm gonna show y'all why. The objective of contour is to create shadows in your face so your face looks more defined. So therefore, the way you blend out contour is not the way you blend out bronzer, and the brush you use makes a difference. You want an angled brush. I know y'all probably see a lot of girls, especially when they do their makeup quick, they go like this back and forth and they go in circles. You don't want to bring your contour down any further than where you placed it. So what I do is take my brush, I bring the concealer down just a little bit, and then from there I just go up. If you notice, I'm patting the contour into my skin. I'm not doing like this, I'm not doing like this. Just pat it into your skin. I have a more oval face, so I don't want to contour too heavy, because I kind of like a little bit more roundness to my face to offset the length in my face, if that makes sense. If your face is more round, you may want to add more concealer, and therefore your contour will be deeper. Now we're going to start blending out the concealer. The key to having good concealer is a good concealer brush. If y'all notice, I'm not using any beauty blenders. I'm not a fan of them, but if you like them and you know how to use them, then use them. For these parts of my face, I go in with the fluffy side, and you want like a tapered type of brush. I don't know where I got this brush from. I'm so sorry. Like I said, a lot of my brushes are actually off-brand, and some of them are ones that my mom gave me that she just didn't really use, and she would buy a lot of them from like TJ Maxx. That's another good place you can get them. TJ Maxx. Shit, see, I messed up. I accidentally blended out the contour from my chin a little bit, but I fixed it. Just don't panic. My philosophy is, when learning how to do makeup, don't be scared of the makeup, because it knows that you're scared of it, and then it's gonna punk you. So then I'm just gonna go and blend out my chin contour. So now we're gonna start blending out the concealer under my eyes. I'm gonna take, again, the fluffy side first. This is another good time where melting spray is going to come in handy. So let's say you let your concealer sit for too long and now it won't budge. Don't try to force it, because then you're gonna get those streaky lines on your face. Just respray with the melting spray, because it's gonna add a bit of hydration, and then you can go ahead and re-blend it out. Then I go in with the more buff side, and then I go underneath my under eye, and I just blend like that. And then I'm gonna make sure that it's blended out well on my nose. This is a tip that you want to implement for any makeup step. I'm gonna take like a pinch of foundation on my hand, swirl it in my brush, and I'm gonna go back in and buff out the edges of that concealer I just placed. When it comes to blending out your liquid products or your cream products, the tip is going back in every couple of steps and re-blending out what you placed on your skin. If you have lines or wrinkles under your under eyes, you're not going to want to do both eyes and then set. You want to do one eye at a time. This is where powder puffs come in. I got mine from Shein. It was like $5 for $2. Shein, Amazon, TJ Maxx, all those stores. This is actually a foundation powder, but I use it as a pressed powder. A pressed powder is a powder that comes in a compact like this. It's different than a setting powder. Setting powders are the loose powders. You're going to take the pressed powder first and set your under eye. Because I didn't use a really brightening concealer, I'm going to take my one size setting powder in the shade Ultra Pink. I know a lot of girls who are brown or dark skin are scared of brightening powders for obvious reasons, but this one is really translucent. I was scared to use this one at first, and I tried it and I was like, oh wait, it's brightening, but it doesn't make me look ashy. I swear by this one. I'm just going to take my powder puff and just set my under eye. Thing is set. Now we're gonna move on to blush. I'm gonna show y'all my favorite liquid blushes and powder blushes. So for liquid, I love this Juvia's Place liquid blush in the shade Blush Lily. I also like the Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Joy. My little sister got me this one for Christmas and I love it. And then NYX has really good blushes in their Buttermelt blush collection. This is the shade You Know Butter. Then I like the NYX Orgasm Edge blush. This is another like peachy coral one. And then Makeup Forever has these blush palettes, but this brand on Amazon called Carla's Secret, they sell like a knockoff version because the Makeup Forever ones are really expensive. These are good if you're a makeup artist as well, because not only do they have a lot of shades, but you can mix them. So I often mix these shades. But for today, I'm gonna use the Juvia's Place blush. And then I did a collab with Giorgio Armani for their Luminous Silk Glow blush campaign, and this one is in the shade 52. I like to match my liquid with my powder. I'm gonna put the blush on the back of my hand, and where you place your blush is dependent on what you like. I like to place my blush more so up here. You want to start off with a light hand first because it's easier to build up product than it is to take away product. And then as I blend it out, I'll add a little more. Pack that on me. Anytime you use a powder product, make sure you top your brush off before you put whatever it is on your face, whether it's blush, eyeshadow, whatever. Now we're gonna do bronzer. Bronzer is simply just to warm, and I'm a bronzer bitch down. The same eyeshadow shade I use is also my bronzer shade. If Juvia's Place put this in a bronzer shade, I would love them for the rest of my days because it's just perfect. So bronzer you can get a little more free-handed with. I swirl my brush around and I blend it in between my blush and my contour. I just do a little bit on my forehead, mostly like the sides of my forehead. I'm not really a contour girl when it comes to my forehead either. Now, when it comes to lip combos, I'm just gonna go with my everyday pink. Before you put on your lip combo, you need to get rid of whatever foundation was on your lips. However, you do need to take some powder and you need to put it on your lips. You need to make sure it's a translucent powder so you don't have powdery lips. When it comes to lip liners, I don't like to go OD dark. The lip liner that I love is the NYX lip pencil in the shade, I believe this is Espresso. For my perfect pink lip combo, first I go in with the Fenty Beauty Cream Gloss Bomb in the shade Mauve Wives. I'm going to take the Kiko Milano gloss. This brand has really good glosses, and this is my favorite like shimmery pink one. Then I'm going to go in with the shade Sweet Mouth by Fenty. Let me give y'all a different angle. So yeah, this is the final product. This was the first session of a makeup class. I think the next video is gonna be eyeshadow. Yeah, thank y'all for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.